And who owns the Teslas? Not conservative motherfuckers.
Yeah, no,
it ain't them driving around that stupid bullshit.
I built this thing from the bottom, they tore it down, I rebuilt it. I give myself a task, you can bet your ass I fulfill it. Yeah, man, I'm talking about Willis, one of the realest to try.
ASMR, you guys ready?
ASMR. I thought we were already working it. What's going on? Podcast 327.
What is the episode?
It's 109.
327. Huh?
Pulling Thread Podcast, episode 109. What's up? What happened last week? People are like, are you ever going to put out another podcast? I'm like, what are you talking about? We put fucking podcasts out every week.
You know, I think there's something in the Google spheres in how it works, because he dropped the $5 footlong last week.
What was that?
The $5 giveaway.
Oh.
He dropped the $5 footlong last week, and I get a message, and I'm like, I'm this is some funny shit. I had to watch it like 3 or 4 times.
Yours?
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
And I'm like, watch what? And they're like, this $5 video.
Who was telling you this?
A couple of people.
Oh.
A couple of people. I'm just $5 video. And I'm like, that hasn't dropped yet.
We put the promo stuff out like immediately. Like he made that. When I saw him at 4:00 that day, he was ready to roll.
No, I get it. I'm like, that hasn't dropped yet. And so I went through my feeds, and I had to spend 5 minutes. I mean, that doesn't sound terribly long, but when I'm connected to all the stuff, I had to spend 5 minutes just to find it.
Weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I feel like that happens all the time. Like he'll show me something. He'll show me like a clip, and he'll be like, he'll show me a clip, and then he'll be like, yeah, I dropped that. I'm like, I don't see any of the shit. I don't understand where it's going.
So last night when I went live, I was on for probably 2 minutes before even anybody showed up. And the first comment was, I didn't get a notification. I just knew that you were on at 9:00. And the first 30 comments, no notification. The night before, somebody shows up with a trans pride flag, and they're like, are you for trans? I'm like, I don't care what you do. Like, I don't care. But if you want us to pretend you're a girl, be a fucking really good one. Like, if you're a dude in the girl's bathroom, I really think that her father should stomp you to fucking death. That's what I think. If you have a fucking penis and you're making a big deal about it, how can little girls know that a man is in the bathroom with them? That's a fucking problem, and I think you should be fucking murdered for it. So that's probably why we didn't get any notification on the video the next night. That's why they probably didn't like that.
Interesting. Did sales reflect the promo?
Yeah.
Did it seem? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, sales do reflect the promo, especially because of the way we're running it, right? Because Diesel Brothers, when they do one of those crazy truck builds and they do a giveaway, every $5 gets you an entry in.
Right.
So you don't have to meet like a $50 threshold and then have to make another $50, right? So you actually will see sales much more elevated because people who can't afford that $50 will buy it. And then people will also buy, they won't worry about giving you 50 or 60 different orders for 60 entries. They'll just order the shit they want, and then every $5 will get an entry. But yeah, it actually did spur sales.
I was just wondering if, maybe it got pushed into the black hole of.
Well, and it's there also because she embeds it into every text message for that month, and then puts it in the email. Plus, we pushed it out on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. So we actually.
What do you think? What are your? We should do,
Spin it out. What do you think?
Well, I'm thinking, what do you think the winner's color will be?
It's hard to tell, man. You really don't know.
Yeah.
You have no idea. It was a trip, like the last winner we did, the last giveaway last month. Like, we knew those dudes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, how fucking what are the chances? Like, when we called those dudes, like, we knew every one of those. Like, I recognized all their names. And I'm looking through these orders, and like, it takes a lot more work for Amanda to enter every $5. She has to put that invoice number onto a business card. But like, I was just thumbing through. I'm like, man, I don't know any of these names. I didn't recognize any. And I'm always like, man, they're going to think we rigged this or whatever. But like, we filmed the whole thing. We did it live. And then he had a random number generator and shit. But like, we called those dudes up. Those dudes were so stoked, man. I'm like, what color do you want? One guy wanted like multicam tropic. The other two guys wanted like multicam black and red. But there's some weird shit out there. Like, I've got dudes that want like ATAX Ghost with like toxic green thread. But that's how you get that shit is on those promos.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how are we going to do it this time?
I don't know how. I always want to do the video like really cool, but like we were going to do it the first week, and then we had thunderstorms, and then the next week the whole field was just a fucking muddy swamp, and then the next week it was frozen. So like we just didn't have the bodies. It was like every time we did a really cool giveaway video, it always involved like fucking Tyler up somehow.
Yeah.
I don't have a willing participant like that.
We need to just fly Tyler in.
I offered Tyler. He shows up every now and then. He's like, I miss you, Bubby. I'm coming back.
Well, what we need to do is we need to hire 2 people. Mm-hmm. We just need to hire 2 people.
2 whipping boys.
No, just for hire them for 2 days.
Okay.
They go to the deepest, darkest woods of
Appalachia.
West Virginia, into the Appalachia. They fight the pterodactyls, and they get him, and they just bring him here.
Just black bag him.
Yeah, just black bag him.
You know who we do have back on staff?
Who's that?
Red.
Oh my God, Red will go. I bet a few.
Well, Red's always good for it. Like when we somebody gave me butter, like 20 pounds of 50 pounds of butter, right, in pound blocks, and we're like, what are we going to do with all this butter? And then the refrigerator died or something happened, right?
Yeah, we had to get rid of the butter.
So we have all this butter sitting out. So I'm like, I know. Let's melt it in the sun in 5-gallon buckets, and we'll pour it all over Tyler. Or all over Curtis. So Curtis is in his underwear, fucking butt naked, just the underwear. And he's out in the front field, and we dump all this butter, and I'm like, I'll give anybody $100 that can catch him. Well, Red caught him. Like, I'm like, one of these dudes will catch him, or somebody will get a hold of him. Red caught him. I think she was trying to pull his underwear off.
She goes full out. Like, if you throw some money down on it, she'll go full out. She's like, I'm getting that $100.
And then when we found that video the other day of when we had her, I thought she jumped out of the car. It was actually Babyhead that was in the trunk. Red ran up and slapped Tyler. Tyler's like, you crazy bitch. And she slapped him. She slapped the fuck out of him.
Nice.
So
those are the good old days.
She's always good for that.
What was the drink he was addicted to?
Hyperlean.
Hyperlean.
It's not a drink.
Dude, no, Hyperlean. It's just a pill that makes your butthole sweat.
It's a pre-workout.
Gas station.
Oh man,
kind of. But Swinney had it.
Okay.
If you know when you go in the gas station, they got that wall of bumblebees, hornet's nest, all that stuff for truck drivers. If you'd taken all of those, filtered out all the stuff that's just there for Phil, and then mixed them all together, it'd be like a half a Hyperlean. Like you had to literally chop the Hyperlean up. If you
I couldn't take a full one.
If you tried to take a full Hyperlean, you would be like,
you'd be sweating. You'd see in black and white.
Yeah, it was bad,
dude. It's like taking clenbuterol, but when you're like, okay, I need 5 milligrams of clenbuterol, whatever it is, right? But I can save a lot of money if I just buy 40s. But then when you get the 40s, you forget they're 40s. So you don't cut them into 8 pieces. So you take half of one thinking you're taking 5, but you really just took 20. And you're like, oh my God, everything's black and white. I can't see in color. I can't stand. Oh shit, I can't sit still. I can't sit here. I'm going to lay down. Oh no, laying down's not working. I have to stand up. That's how it was.
That was Hyperlean. And Tyler would pop those things like that.
When Justin brought me, because we were gonna do a private label protein with a company out of California. Who knows point of origin? I didn't know anything about it then. And kid that worked for me, he's like, hey, my trainer Justin Swinney, his father is a chemist, and he made all these protein things. He has his own protein line. I'm like, you think we could get him to come here? So he drove from Alabama the first time I met Justin Swinney. And we had just bought this place. And that's when Justin was like, oh, there's a fox up there? well, let's go up. I'll shoot it. I got my Glock. I'm like, oh, what kind of Glock you have? He's like, I have all of them. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, all of them. I don't know the numbers or anything, but I have all of them. And he had a truck vault, like the metal truck vault, and he pulls this fucking drawer out of the truck. He had every fucking Glock there was in a slot in the bed of his fucking pull-out truck thing. So he brings all this protein down, and it tastes amazing. Like, it's fucking really good. And it's he's got like a chocolate and a vanilla, so we named it Sexual Chocolate and something else on my website. And we were selling it faster than he could bring it. Like, he'd bring me a truckload of it, and we would sell it like the first day we'd listed it would blow out. And then he was starting to do like neurotropics and stuff, and he had all kind of like Focus 5. He had Hyperlean. He had a couple pre-workouts. He had some aminos that were fucking the best tasting aminos like you've ever had. And all you needed was just like a tiny scoop of it. They were not huge, like, you know, when you get some protein and it's just it's a normal size scoop, and then other shit you have to like eat half the container to get the metrics out of it. But Justin's product, Champ Nutrition, man, it was fucking on point. And I never you didn't get farty. You didn't ever feel fucked up from, except the Hyperlean. You had to cut that, because the first time he comes down, we're gonna go to the gym, and he's gonna take us. We're gonna go to the gym, and I'm gonna try the shit. So I had some aminos, and then I had some of his pre-workout, and then I had a Hyperlean. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die. Like, I can't handle this shit. By the time I got to the gym, I'm eating like fucking metrics bars. I'm like, I gotta go get a Subway sandwich or something. Fucking absorb some of this shit.
Yeah, that Hyperlean make your butthole sweat.
I still have it. I have 2 bottles of it sitting right up above my desk. I see it every morning.
You could probably just get on the roof and shake it.
They call it the Boone County Mating Call, whatever that show. What's the show I'm talking about?
The Whites.
That's the town that Tyler's from. Yeah. That's where Tyler lives.
Yeah. I promise you, if John went out on the porch with one of those things at Hyperlean and gave it a shake, Tyler wherever he's at, he's gonna be like,
dude, we did a skit video where we come out and he's in the coyote trap. He's in a live catch trap. Like, what are you doing? He's like, the Hyperlean. I got in there to get the Hyperlean, but it pushed out the other side. And Tyler had gotten in there fucking around, and he actually was caught in the fucking coyote trap.
Yeah, it was fun times with Tyler.
It was, but Tyler and he's a good dude. Like, Tyler clearly was over medicated from, like, he had the VA medication, and then he had the doctor medication, and then he had fucking counselor medication. And like, when Jeff, he had a handful of pills. And when Jeff he's like, give me those. And Jeff started looking them up, and like 3 or 4 of them clearly said, do not take A with B, and don't take B with C. And like, they had him, like, none of these motherfucking doctors had spoke to each other, and they had him on all kinds of shit, and they were all prescribed. He had a fucking script for every one of them.
The only problem with Tyler, especially for here, is constant supervision.
But that's what he said too. I go, man,
it's like having a Lance Corporal. You got to be
like, it had become like a Jackass TV show. Like, everything, we did a lot of shit. But it's like Jeff said, he goes, John, like, yeah, we had 5 retards, but it took me telling and supervising the retards all the time. Like, we had rented a wood chipper. Like, we all went up, and we were going to get all this wood they cut at this church, like 2 acres of property up here. And all they wanted was the straight poles, right? So we got all the limbs and shit. And we brought it back here, trailer loads. Like, we had fucking like a week's worth of hauling trailer and trailer and trailer and trailer.
I mean, we spent 2 weeks, just cutting it up. That's how many trees they had up there. Paying
dudes hourly wage for 8-10 hours a day. Brought it all back, and then you got these motherfuckers that, like, they unload it, and I'm like, dude, you're tangling all this shit up. You need to, like, as you pull this out of the trailer, and just leave it in the direction, because that's the way we're just going to feed it straight into the wood chipper. But they don't. They take it and throw it, so everything's fucking crossed, and it takes twice as long to unfuck it. And we rented this wood chipper, and we ran the wood chipper for a week straight, like, just run it out of gas, run it out of gas, run it out of gas. And we had, I think there was six dudes out there, 10 hours a day wages. And at the end of the day, you'd have these little tiny fucking piles of wood chips. We're like, what in the fuck? Like we couldn't even do anything. Like it costs so much
Yeah.
to rent it and then pay the labor. And then this kid, he's going to come work for us. This TAC response kid's going to come work for us. And he shows up like 6 weeks late. He's like, I'm here to work. I'm like, all right, well, you can't wear those fucking Crocs. Go put on some fucking boots or some real shoes. I come outside 10 minutes later and he's in the Crocs and he has stepped and fucking had a nail running straight through his entire fucking foot. He didn't go change his shoes like I told him to. I'm like, we're not hiring you, dumbass. You're too dumb to fucking be here. But it was always some shit like that. Yeah. That's when he showed up. This motherfucker showed up. We had a bunch of Husqvarna chainsaws and we're out there running shit. And he shows up with the DeWalt. We're like, get the fuck out of here with this battery powered chainsaw. And that thing outperformed all of our saws. We were constantly changing fucking, chains and adding oil and adding fuel.
To be fair, the Husqvarna gas saw is better than the DeWalt saw in the sense of it has higher RPMs and it'll cut it'll cut faster. But with the DeWalt,
had a built-in chainsaw sharpener.
No, it just had really good chains. With the DeWalt, all I had to do, this is it. Take the battery out, put the new battery in, and I'm still working. With Curtis, and Curtis worked on those saws. You got to fill it up with gas, and then for whatever reason, it's not going to start again. So you're out there going, wah, wah, and I'm just like, ha, 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 ha. The DeWalt saw is a really good saw. I'm sure there's better electric saws out there now because that was, 5 years ago?
Dude, the steel saw is fucking incredible.
Yeah, I bought
but the steel electric saw, like I went to buy one, so you got to buy the power, you got to buy the unit, the head, the saw, and that's like, I don't know, $600, $800 depending on the one you get. But it doesn't come with batteries. You got to get the battery pack, and that's another $1,000. And then if you want to charge it fast, the speed charger is another. I'm in the motherfucker for $3,000. I went to buy this fucking electric chainsaw and came home with 2 fucking steel gas saws. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah, that's when that 40 volt came out, the DeWalt 40 volt came out. I went all in. I bought the lawnmower, the weed whacker.
I did that.
So I
with
had
the
like
blue.
6.
Yeah, I did.
So I had 6 batteries, but it's a good, that DeWalt is good, but then if you use that DeWalt for a long time, so like I used that thing for 5 years at least, and then I got a gas steel saw, and that I'm like, oh my god,
you have a steel?
Yeah,
dude.
I'm like, oh my god, this thing is so much better.
There's all this conversation between Husqvarna and steel, and I've always had Husqvarna. I mean, there's 20 Husqvarna saws out there. As soon as you get a steel, you're like, oh man, the starting sequence is so much fucking better on the steel saw. Like, I'm never gonna pick up another one of these.
I
orange
fucked
ones.
myself up though, because he's like, when I went to go buy it, I bought it at the co-op down there in Waverly, and he's like, oh, you want the easy start?
Oh, you told me that.
I go, you want the easy start? I go, they got an easy start? He's like, yeah, it's for old people, and you don't have to yank on it like you normally. You just kind of go like that, and
it's got like a compression
release. It tries to do that. But man, I fuck myself up on that saw all the time because I'll grab it and I'll be like, and it'll just rip my arm back because you're not supposed to.
And as soon as that cord gets a little bit old, you're gonna rake that thing out of there.
Fuck, man, it fucks me up all the time.
All right, we should probably do the podcast.
Oh, podcast. Is there some? I mean, what is there to talk about except winning? I mean,
expand upon that.
What I mean, just winning. Unless you're a Tesla, unless you own a Tesla, then you're not winning.
The crazy shit about them burning up the Tesla. So, dude, this is not like a once a day thing.
No, I know.
This is happening in multiple states. It's like Weather Underground almost.
Yeah.
Multiple states. Not like incendiary, not like Roman candles, like full on fucking homemade bombs and shit.
Good news. But good news about that.
They're arresting the fuck out of them.
Yeah, good news about that. That's a fucking 10-year felony for sure.
I'll bet it's more than that.
So those motherfuckers. Well, I think, and I'm sure the internet warriors are going to fucking correct me on this, but I do believe just the manufacture of a Molotov cocktail is 10 years.
Yeah, yeah, it's a $200 tax stamp because we wanted to use Molotov cocktails to start
a
bonfire,
yeah.
and our buddies who are explosive manufacturers, he's like, bro, we could just launch. Why don't we just hit this with 40 mic? We could do it cheaper than making Molotovs. I'm like, shit, what? He's like, yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy. $200 tax stamp. Got to do the paperwork for every fucking one you see in a movie. So it's happening every day. Multiple Tesla dealerships, multiple states. And in addition, they're up to like 20 swattings now. They're hitting content creators, conservative content creators, Tim Pool and all those guys. And they're doing it under the guise of they're like SWAT teams are coming, pulling them out. And the hope is, and they're actually going after these dudes and arresting them with attempted murder is the charge they're hitting them with.
So that, I mean, the good news is we're going to get a lot of crazy people off the street because that's really who it is. The problem here is the Democratic Party really lied to the very far left fringe of this country, making them think that somehow they had some sort of power that's not real. By protecting them underneath the Biden and Obama administration, by not prosecuting them, they feel that they are above the law. Unfortunately, we have a new sheriff in town, and those people are going to jail. They're going to jail for a long time where they should be for doing what they're doing. You know, it's funny that they're burning down green energy. They're burning down green energy, and they're putting swastikas on everything.
The motherfuckers that were for Tesla are now burning down Teslas. And who owns the Teslas? Not conservative motherfuckers. It ain't them driving around that stupid bullshit.
And that is precisely...
It's their own fucking... It's those people that their victims are closer to them than the people they hate.
That is precisely why the Democrat Party is dying. Why it is going to have a very hard time recovering for this. Because if you're... let's say, you're a liberal Democrat who is... middle of the road or close to center, right? You're still right, but you're close to center. You want to fucking save the planet. You bought yourself an electric car. There was really only one company. If you think about it, there was only one company. Right. Where are you going to buy that electric car? You bought it from Tesla. So you're trying to do your part to save the planet, even though it's completely misguided. And your fellow fucking Democrats are now threatening to throw a Molotov cocktail in your garage and burn your goddamn house down?
They are doing it.
Who's coming to your rescue? The right is coming to your rescue. The right is the ones that are keeping these fucking animals from burning your... So every single one of these attacks, every single one of them, because as you mentioned, is only taking a fucking Democrat and pushing them further to the right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Further to the right. It's ridiculous. I mean, the reality is...
So what about Supreme Court?
I hope they fucking round them up and get them help.
What about the ruling that said that the suppressors are not protected under the Second Amendment?
I haven't heard anything.
Just happened yesterday, day before, yeah.
That aren't protected
under... Second Amendment doesn't apply to suppressors.
Was it the Supreme Court or was it a lower court?
No, I thought it was the High Court. I could be, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe Fifth Circuit. I don't think it.
So what about they have all the Tren de Aragua, all the fucking...
None of that. Here's the thing too, though. The reality is what they were trying to do is get suppressor laws completely overthrown.
Null and void.
Null and void.
The whole NFA.
So people could have them anywhere they want. The only thing that law does, because that's the Illinois law, that's the Illinois case. It's Illinois trying to say that your suppressors aren't protected under the Second Amendment, so we can ban them. The only thing that's going to really do that particular case is going to do is it's not going to do anything to individuals who already live in free states. It's just the states that you can't buy suppressors in anyways. So yeah, California can still say you can't own a fucking suppressor. That's your fault for living in California. But all that can be changed through legislation.
So we went to Illinois, to Cairo.
Cairo, Illinois.
And you're looking around, and there's beautiful homes there.
Oh,
like,
man,
it's super impoverished, like just fucking wrecked, the whole town. The whole history of it's fucking insane. But the median house is like $46,000. There's not been a new house built in over 25 years there. It's fucking wild. And you have like major historic buildings there, right?
Yeah.
That's the congruent where all the rivers come together. That was going to be the capital of the United States. And you have these massive marble and granite buildings and stuff there. And I'm like, man, you could come here and just buy one of these places. And then when I mentioned it on live, people are like, oh yeah, the taxes, like you can't start a business there. They make it impossible. Fucking like everything there is just fucking against you. You're like, and it's crazy that it's so impoverished and people will come in there and want to live there and they make it impossible to fucking live there. It's just,
that's the problem with Democrats.
It's fucking crazy.
Problem with Democrats. They don't want to revitalize. They don't want to revitalize an area. They want their constituents poor, and they want their constituents beholden to the government. That's it. You think about Cairo. All those people the people that still live there are buying their fucking food and groceries out of that boarded up mini mart.
Yeah, there's one little grocery store there, and it's not a real grocery store.
No, it's not.
It's fucking pretty wild, man.
So, and that who's the representative for Cairo, Illinois, right?
I don't know.
Who is that representative, and why has that representative not been fucking, really pitchforked? Why aren't we taking torches to that motherfucker's house? Because he's not doing anything for those. He's not doing anything for those constituents. So, I don't know. It is a shame. There's a lot of places in the country that are like that, and one could say that, well, was it what was it that killed Cairo, Illinois? Was it the freeway? Was it the trains? Was it, there's a lot of reasons why Cairo got passed over, but
well, it was the trains. And then every video you watch, we'll talk about racism and how they had this black guy and they fucking pulled him out of jail and the whole deal, and how that several people were murdered. What they don't tell you in those videos is that, yes, while one black person was put into jail, when they killed those people that night, they were killing other black folks. It wasn't like the white folks rounding them up. When all the black folks rioted, they pulled black people out of jail and fucking killed them. When you really dig through it, man, there's some real history there going back, 150 years. But
that's a great library. If you want to see a really bitchin' library, Cairo, Illinois has
these buildings are sitting there.
Lady in there.
Like, these buildings are vacant. They're all unlocked. Like, Amanda and I went there and walked around, and people either ignore you or they're fucking super friendly to you. There's both extremes. Their hospital closed in 1986. We walked all through the hospital. Both operating rooms were in there. Like, everything. We were in the steam plant. We were like all through there, man. We walked, just open a door and it's just open. And it's full of all the contents, 3-story buildings, fucking everything in there, not a single fucking person in there. It's wild. So what about all the prison transports? While we're taking all these prisoners down to Central America, and some lower court judge is like, I have equitable power, and I demand that you just turn this plane around. Trump's calling for his impeachment, like to impeach this judge. But I don't know why don't we just be like, yeah, go ahead and fuck off.
Well, they basically did say fuck off. They basically did say fuck off because those planes did not come back.
No.
They basically did say fuck off, and again, I don't think, me personally, I don't think Trump should say a goddamn thing about it. Like, I don't think he should be like, impeach this guy. I think that he should be like, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do exactly what we intended to do. Pam, take him to court. Just work it out in court, because the reality is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old the law is. Like, it doesn't matter how old the law is. If the law is on the books, then it can be enforced by the Justice Department. And so the Justice Department using that old-ass Aliens Invasion Act in order to get rid of these gang members, when it goes to court, when it works its way through the court system, the president's going to win. And the only thing it does is, because here's my issue. if the president goes, we need to impeach this guy because because of what he's doing. Everybody sees that this judge doesn't give two shits about immigrants. All he's trying to do is throw a wrench in Trump's thing. So
Yeah, he's just a never-Trumper.
We know that this is politically motivated, right? We know it's politically motivated. And as long as Trump stays on the side of the Constitution and law, that judge has got nothing. When it goes through court, he's gonna get fucking slammed. It's not gonna do him any good. And so I think Trump should just be like, whatever. That's your fucked up left liberal judge. I don't need to follow his orders, and continue to do what he's doing. Because in the long run, here, this is how smart Trump is, right? Think about the long run. The long run is this: if they take this to court, even if he loses, like let's say they get to court and they're like, you had no authority to do that. You have no authority to do that. Bring them back.
They're not U.S. citizens.
Not only are they not U.S. citizens, but that requires the cooperation of the host nation country. The host nation country has to fucking be like, okay, we'll send them back. Do you think that the fucking president, you think the president down there is going to be like, he's going to go, do you really want him back? And Trump's going to go, yeah, I really want him back. And then they're not going to send him back.
Yeah, we're paying.
So it's a win-win.
They're housing them for $20,000 a year versus us housing them for $50,000. So what about those RFK files, the JFK files?
Oh, they're not going to tell us anything we didn't already know.
So you know how people are getting all this, right? They get them off the archive.gov.
Mm-hmm.
And archive.gov is searchable for keywords. Do you want to guess what words you cannot search in the JFK files?
Penis?
Oh. Israel or Israeli. Everything that says anything to do with Israeli has been removed. You cannot fucking pull it up, apparently.
I mean, whatever.
ISIS. You know what ISIS is?
Uh-huh.
Do you know what the first use of the term ISIS was?
Yeah, a cartoon on the Cartoon Networks with my favorite spy.
What was it?
It was...
We just went through this.
Yeah, we just went through this.
You guys did?
Yeah. What is it? Come on, I completely forgot.
So apparently the first time the term was used, it's actually Israeli Special Intelligence Services. Have you not heard that?
No, but I haven't heard that. But that don't mean
Secrets
anything.
of ISIS? Was that what it was? In the
No. It's a 90s or 80s. It's definitely
So
90s.
Lee Harvey
cartoon.
Oswald. Do you know there was two of those?
Two Lee Harvey Oswalds, probably.
Do you know that Lee Harvey Oswald, that's the guy that went to Mexico, right? And was at the Russian embassy and everything, right? That's the dude that supposedly shot Lee
You
Harvey
mean
Oswald,
Lee Harvey Oswald, yeah.
right? Do you know that when the U-2 was shot down, you know Lee Harvey Oswald was read into the U-2 program. He
Possibly.
was a radar controller and radio man, supposedly.
Okay.
He was actually in custody. He was with Russia. He went to and went to live in Russia for a year or whatever. While he was in Russia, that is when Russia shot down that U-2 aircraft.
Yeah, but that ain't got nothing to do with Lee Harvey Oswald. He's just a fucking...
Two different dudes.
He's just a little fucking Marine.
Two different guys. There's apparently two of them, which is what people are talking about right now. That's the first I'd heard. I don't know anything about JFK. I just don't care. What my thought is why don't we know about Lee Tardy Oswald, the fucking shooter that shot at him in Pennsylvania? Why don't we know about this fucking other dude with all the Ukraine ties and shit that had been on Fort Bragg 120 different times and apparently has CIA ties and shit? The dude with the SKS. Why aren't we hearing anything about any of that shit?
I don't know.
I don't care about fucking JFK. Fucking, it didn't happen while we were alive. I mean, clearly they're still doing the same shit.
The reality is that's the point of the classification system.
Yeah, nobody's alive.
Nobody's alive that can be punished for it, so it doesn't matter. You can get up in arms about, because the first dump. I don't know if you paid attention to the first dump they did, but the first big dump they did, maybe I understand why it was classified. Maybe I don't understand why it was classified, because again, the FBI was the FBI at that time period was very anti-black anyways, right? And that second dump they did, the second big one under Trump, all it talked about is what a fucking, what a horrible person Martin Luther King was, right? Philanthropy, with all fucking around with all the women and all that. That's all it did, is painted him. It actually painted him very poorly. And actually, I think they were even talking about how much better Malcolm X was, right? And so...
Isn't that the first gun control we saw in the United States was about controlling black ownership of firearms?
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why the Ku Klux Klan was actually put together, was because the Republican Party and the NRA wanted to arm minorities in this country, so they couldn't be preyed upon by liberal Democrats.
And didn't the Black Panthers march on? Was it in Los Angeles or was it in Washington D.C.? They showed up armed.
Yeah, the Black Panthers operated all over the place.
And isn't that when the 1986 actual machine, like the Machine Gun Act and stuff, had something to do with black people also? They wanted to limit black folks being able to have guns, and I thought that had something to do with Reagan passing.
It would have been if it was. Again, I don't know the digits of it, but if it was Reagan, it would have been Governor Reagan. It wouldn't have been close to President Reagan, because the Black Panthers, when they were really,
maybe that's why
when they were really operating, like when the Black Panthers were really operating and really doing things for their community, that was in the 60s and 70s.
Maybe
they kind of would have been those organizations still, like the Black Panthers. I'm sure that they're Black Panther organizations that still exist to this day, but as a operational unit for the community that could actually organize, they were pre-86. But yeah, I believe that people put the California open carry, that it was. And I'm not 100% sure that it was Reagan who passed the law that said you couldn't open carry anymore, specifically to response of Black Panthers operating. They weren't even. I'm sure they did operate in town, but the issue was that the Black Panthers were patrolling their property.
Yeah, I thought they showed up at a courthouse armed.
Yeah, they probably did. They probably did once the push was to say you can't open carry. But the reality is, it was them. It was them open carrying on their property to protect their property against, whoever wanted to attack them, right? And so that if I make a law that says you can't open carry, then even in that time period, they weren't. Even at that time period, it wasn't. Because people don't when people think of open carry, like when you think of open carry today, what do you think of? You think of somebody at Costco with a $19 holster,
some old man with a flip flop and some goober,
a fucking whatever a Kel-Tec hanging out of his back pocket,
dirty wife beater usually.
What they were talking about back then was dudes with rifles.
Yeah,
they were. It was Black Panthers with M1 carbines that they were talking about back then, and that's why they that's what the open carry law was trying to stop.
What a trip. They don't want you open carrying, and now they're mad about now it's okay to open carry, but you can't conceal carry. Fucking how things have flipped. So how about them Houthis? The Crips and the Bloods are pirate and shipping lanes.
It's just again, the Houthis are it's a stepping stone to Iran. Everything's Iran. The whole entire focus in the Middle East right now is to start a war with Iran. Now, I don't know if it's good news or if it's just the fact that they understand that they can't go against the United States and Israel. Israel is doing everything it can to poke that bear. Israel is doing everything it can to get Iran to do a real attack. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Iranians are launching missiles, But the difference between the Iranians and the response that the Israelis have is night and day. The Iranians they'll fire 300 missiles at Israel. One will make it through, hit a parking lot, blow up a couple of cars, and then the Israelis will immediately attack with F-15 Eagles and kill 400 people. So they're not equal responses. We're not equally responding. And we're doing the same thing. It's not just the Israelis. The United States is doing the same thing. The Houthis are shooting. Remember this word. They say it every time the Houthis shoot. They're using ballistic missiles.
Yeah.
Now, the problem there is it's an easy solution. Okay? It's easy solution because if you know how a ballistic missile works, you have to shoot it up in the air, straight up, and it uses an arc in order to hit its target. The problem with that is it's easy to calculate that, and it's easy to especially for the United States Navy, it's easy for them to be like, oh, okay, they're trying to do this, we can shoot that out of the sky. It's very easy. Unlike a drone is a little bit harder of an attack thing. You know, it's a little bit harder for them to take out a drone, but the Houthis don't like the idea that they're going to fucking hit one of our ships. Even if they did, like let's say they hit the aircraft carrier. Okay, let's say they did hit the aircraft carrier. That is going to be a 100% failure aboard the ship. It won't be because the Houthis are fucking tacticians and knew how to attack it right and do it. It won't be that. It will be 100% that somebody was sleeping. The fucking,
Well, 3 nights ago, someone from the White House, when a reporter asked him about it, and he said that the Houthis drones are basically akin to a flying lawnmower. He's like, that's the technology. And then yesterday, when I sent you the message yesterday, and I'm like, the Houthis fucking hit one of the aircraft carriers, you're like, fake news. And I'm like, bro, Google that shit. It looks to be real, right? And I watched 10 videos on it, but they're all like from the Houthis. US, fucking whatever the ship was. And then I clicked on some shorts, and it's something that I think the Navy put it out. And it's like, he's like, I don't know what that, he shows the dude, the press secretary from the Houthis, and he's like, blah, 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 whatever the ship's name was. He goes, I don't know what the fuck he just said, but we're just doing Taco Tuesday as normal. So then when I started watching stuff from the White House, as that came out an hour or so later, and they're like, did the Houthis hit an aircraft carrier? He's like, we can't even confirm that they were shooting at the aircraft carrier because the ordnance that they're saying hit the aircraft carrier fell 100 miles short of the aircraft carrier.
Yeah, it's not that the reality is it's not that they don't have equipment that could possibly they have the equipment that could hit a ship, it could sink a ship. They don't have the technical expertise to make that possible.
Do we not have phalanx systems on all those ships?
All the ships have phalanx, but we're really using it, again, something that most people aren't paying attention to, but we're really using a fucking laser. Yeah, we're using a laser to knock most of that shit down. So it's they just don't have, again, we always talk about peer adversaries. The Houthis aren't even it's like if tomorrow they got a fucking T-ball team. And they're like, hey, guess what? You're going to the big leagues. You're going to go play the Yankees for the World Series. It's just not going to happen unless there's some, again, it would have to be a catastrophic failure. Not just one ship, but all those destroyers over there, all the destroyers are doing is picketing for the fucking carrier. So you would have multiple ships that would have to be like, oh, there goes a missile. There it goes. Look at that. Let's go there. So it's the likelihood is not going to happen.
If a U.S. vessel gets hit over there, it's a false flag. Like, we let that shit happen. We put that motherfucker there on purpose and let them hit that ship so that we can fuck up Iran.
It doesn't have to be so. You can get the same outcome. You can get the same outcome without it being a false flag. Meaning, okay, we've talked about this for a while now. The goal is a war with Iran. Okay, the goal is Iran does something that provokes a conflict so that we can go in and fucking end that regime. Okay, that is the ultimate goal here. I don't have to because the problem is the old days of false flag where you intentionally put something in harm's way and then not allow that thing to operate the way it's supposed to, right? Meaning I put this ship in harm's way and then Israeli jets bomb it and oh shit, they don't sink it and they don't kill everybody, so we know it was a false flag to get us in a war with Egypt. That's too easy, right? It's too easy, especially in modern times, for people to go, fucking false flag. But what I can do is I can send the Pacific Fleet into a position where it's dangerous for them, to operate, and kind of like roll the dice and go, maybe the fucking Houthis do hit something. Maybe the Iranians do something. Because, the Iranians have silkworm missiles. Silkworm missiles are pretty hard to get because they low skim across the a water and usually sink ships. I don't have to. I can still give those, I can still send you out. I can be like, John, take your forces out there. Do everything you can to protect these shipping lanes. You have the full support of the President of the United States. But again, I'm still rolling the dice that the Houthis that somehow I can connect the dots with Iran, because I'm putting you in harm's way. I don't have to actually create a false flag, because again, if I shoot, the idea is this: if I shoot 1,000 missiles at you, what are the chances that you're going to get them all?
Right.
There's a chance that there is a chance that U.S. surface vessels might get hit by a fucking missile because of whatever, because of fucking radar not working, a fucking phalanx gun jamming. There's just a chance that could happen, and then that chance is enough to get us into global conflict with the fucking Iranians, because that's what we need, right?
They had an interview with the Pentagon, and I don't remember who he was. Some guy they call Grinch. He's a general or something, and he'd said he's like, yeah, we're fighting this different. Like when Biden was hitting the Houthis, he'd hit select, targets 1, 2 here. He's like, we engaged 30, we took out 30 targets, and they were like, drone manufacturers, we have intelligence. And she's like, well, how do you have intelligence if we don't have troops on the ground? He's like, we're not going to talk, we're not prepared to discuss that. We're not going to, but we hit 30 targets. She goes, over the week? She's like, no, the first time we went out, we hit 30 targets. And this morning I saw that they were flying B-2 bombers. I guess they use B-2 bombers in some of these raids and shit. But they're fucking them up, man. The Houthis had some little video that was like a compilation, and you see some helicopter. It's slow moving. I don't know what it is. It'd be cool for us to have it, but it looks like it's probably from like the Korean War or something. And it shows them coming up on this ship while they're talking about how they just fucking they hit our aircraft carrier, and I'm like, that's not a fucking aircraft carrier. That's like a fucking frigate or something. Yeah. Some private. That it turns out, as you watch more videos, that footage was when they had 6 pirates had boarded this ship and took this ship over. And somebody came in and thwacked them, like fucking just offed them, like some other opposing force just fucking hit them.
Yeah, it's a that's the first thing is when I clicked on that video and I saw the thing, I saw the video with the spokesperson for, I'm like, that's Baghdad Ali. They just copied fucking Baghdad. They got the flags, they got the maps. He's in a fucking uniform. He's got ribbons. They don't have a goddamn army. They don't have an army. So how do I have a fucking general with fucking ribbons when the Houthis don't have a fucking standing army? What do you get them ribbons for? It's just propaganda. They're just trying to throw out propaganda and this is the weird part. The weird part is you would think that they would like change it up a little, but like they're taking the playbook from the fucking Iraqis who got fucking decimated. Why would you be? It's stupid. Like they would be better off instead of because basically, if you listen to what he's saying, he's just using all the propaganda points. Like, we attacked the Americans and we thwarted their ability to attack us, and we are so much better, and we're sinking their ships. They would be better. They would be better served. The Houthis would be better served if that guy was on there if he was on there pleading with other Arab nations to help support them in their fight against the infidels.
So if that ballistic missile or whatever that they fired at the ship, if they fired at the aircraft carrier and it's 100 miles away, can you see? You can't fucking see a ship 100 miles out in the ocean.
No, they're using using radar and that's like theoretically.
That's like us fucking standing in La Jolla and shooting some bottle rockets in the ocean, and they're like, oh my God, they launched ordnance at a Navy vessel.
Yeah, there's a lot of there is a lot of hope. Well, again, you have to think about who's firing these missiles. These missiles are being fired by people who ultimately, when they press the button, they're saying, if God wills it.
But these aren't like real missiles. These are
they're real missiles
off a truck or something.
Well, again, do you remember? Do you remember the first Gulf War when we were talking about Scud hunters? Mm-hmm. That's what they are. They're ballistic missile. Like they're beep beep, and they're serious missiles. Like if you were on the carrier and you got hit, first off, it's going to be a top down. It's going to be a top down attack. It's not going to be waterline attack. So I'm assuming that those ships are all running buttoned up. It would be a fucking serious hit. It would not be. You wouldn't be laughing about it. It'd be a fucking serious. If one of those ballistic missile hits one of our Navy ships. Not 100% sure, but I would think that it might be a total killer. But again, the way they fire them. The way they have to be fired, and that's why it's interesting that they keep saying ballistic missiles, is a ballistic missile has to fire in an arc, right? So, literally, there's a dude on the carrier. There's a dude on the carrier who's like, they're spinning up one of those Scud missiles. The captain's like, okay, let me know when it launches, and they're tracking that motherfucker the minute it hits the air, and it's got to go way up. And come, so they got.
Why don't we kill it before it launches? If we know they're spinning up.
Well, because we're operating under certain rules, and I am sure that that was part of those 30 attacks, that we're going after those launch facilities. Now, because they're missing by so far. So because they're missing by such a great distance, they may not even be using the trucks anymore. They may just be fucking Wile E. Coyote leaning these things up on a stick and shooting them up in the air because of the infrastructure. Like you have to remember that Yemen itself, the country of Yemen itself, has been at war for fucking almost 10 years. The Saudis have been bombing the shit out of fucking Yemen, and they've had a civil war. So the infrastructure, like even if they have a legit Russian or Iranian Scud missile system, right? That thing has to be being held together by fucking baling wire and fucking shoestrings. So their capability, they don't have a fucking capability.
Is Iran not?
It's just harassment. Yeah, Iran's
currently.
Yeah, that's the dot matrix, right? We want a fucking. When I say we want, it's a specific.
What's the negative?
It's a specific group in the Pentagon. They want a ballistic missile fired by the Houthis to hit a U.S. ship that has Iranian markings on it, so we can go to war with them.
So everybody keeps saying we actually just fucking sank their intel ship. Their most modern intel ship, Iran's intel ship, we sank it. Now, when they asked the Pentagon spokespeople about that, he's like, we haven't sunk any ships. That ship is not even in play. We were aware, yes, they are using intel ships. Yes, that does feed information back. But the ship you're asking about isn't even in play right now.
Yeah, I'm sure
if we sank that motherfucker, Trump would have been like, we just sank your ship. We sank your battleship.
Here's the thing this is kind of the thing about what's going on currently in the war. There's no secrets. It's not like for example, if a US Navy ship if a U.S. Navy ship was actually hit by the Houthis, there is not a single reason why the U.S. government would keep that a secret. That's an alarm bell. That's the Tonkin Gulf. That is, we're going to war with fucking Iran. Thank you very much for hitting one of these ships. Now I have a reason to fucking blow the fuck out of you.
Can Israel not just handle Iran themselves?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So why don't we just let them fucking do it?
Because in protracted long engagements, so protracted long warfare, the Israelis don't want no part of that.
What if they just fucking tossed a nuke in there?
Well, the problem with, again, now we're crossing a line. The problem with tossing a nuke in there is Israel is small. Like, Israel is small. If Iran could absorb a nuclear weapon and still be Iran. Israel cannot absorb a nuclear weapon and be Israel.
Yeah, Iran keeps putting out all these videos showing they've got these underground fucking control bases and air bases, and like it's super neat if it's real. If we go to war with Iran, who's upset about that?
I think here's the real dilemma for those type of regimes in the world is most of the countries in the Middle East, outside of those that are being controlled by rebel forces, most of the countries in the Middle East have come to the idea that they can be more prosperous through commerce. And so no one really would be mad except for, again, extremists. So if we go to war, if we go and take the regime out in Iran, you create bin Ladens. You're not going to have a nation state that is going to go to war. Like, the Egyptians are not going to fucking mount up and be like, you attacked Iran, we're going to come get in the fight.
I mean, we don't even give a fuck about Egyptians.
No, I'm just saying that
what I'm really asking,
nation states are not going to fucking come after us.
China stays out of play, and Russia stays out of play. We don't give a fuck about anyone else.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, as far as nation states, there may be some saber rattling a little bit, but the wink, wink, nod, nod right now is, for most of the Middle East, is they don't care. Like, it's you take a look at what's going on. Take a look at what's going on in Palestine, Lebanon.
Does Palestine even exist anymore?
It's it's not beachfront property yet, but soon to be. But if you take a look at what's going on there, there's really no response. Like, there's really no serious response from the Middle Eastern countries. Like, even if you, I know there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to be like, but even if you look at the responses, like the things that have happened that have been anti-Israel, meaning attacks from Hezbollah or anything out of Lebanon, if you look at the response has been very minimal. Like, it's not let's just put it this way: the response that the Israelis understand right now that they are winning. They understand that they are winning because they are not getting a response that they expected. Meaning, you would expect suicide bombers every day and fucking missile launches but they're not getting that response. And so the Israelis have been doing some crazy shit. They fucking did a commando raid into Syria that took out a huge fucking facility in Syria. They're going in deep into Lebanon. They have fucking already taken out every single air defense system that the Iranians fucking have. Like, the Israelis they don't need, again, and I said this a year ago, the Israelis, there's nothing that the Israelis need from us. Like, they don't need us.
How do they get there?
What do you mean?
When they do those raids, like, how do they do that incursion?
That fucking incursion in Syria was CH-53s.
And they just flew helicopters in.
They just flew helicopters in. Commando unit went in. F-15 Eagles in support.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they did a full raid, but it was, again, because of what happened. The interesting thing is people, again, because it's Israel, we kind of like, we just, all right, well, what's going on in the Middle East? Because it's Israel. Palestinians secretly attacked Israel. Israel went in and wiped them out.
Israel knew that attack was coming.
But Israel went in and wiped them out. And then they attacked Lebanon. Then they attacked Iran. Then they flew into Syria. They're attacking sovereign states that had nothing to do with any of the things that, and they're doing it in the name of, national defense. But that's not the first time. They went in even before this. They went in and sunk a bunch of fucking Syrian boats.
What do they gain by that?
They basically it's one of those things that if I can go out and destroy your infrastructure, okay, I am not going to change your mind. If you think that Israel is the great devil, as an Israeli, I'm not going to change your mind. Like, I can't change your mind. I can give you, again, most people don't know this, but all those motherfuckers in charge of Hezbollah were being paid by the Israelis. The Israelis, after the last fiasco, was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to pay you motherfuckers to be in charge so you don't fucking blow us up anymore. It didn't work, right? That stuff doesn't work. You can't pay your way out of religious fervor. And so what I can do is I can attack every bit of your infrastructure, kill as many minions as I possibly can to buy time.
How much time?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
Sets them back 10 years.
It sets them back probably 10 years. So all I'm doing is buying time.
All right, pause. Are you aware that 30 counties on the border, they are starting to track your financial information if you withdraw more than $200 from an ATM?
I mean,
They're probably doing it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is if you are using anything connected digitally, like if you're using anything that's connected digitally, you're 100%, you're trackable by, the reality is you're trackable by the fucking app that you use to get reward points at the fucking mobile gas station.
So when that started, it started in the 1952, I believe. It was $10,000 threshold. And in 1952, $10,000
was a ton of
was
money.
$185,000. And then it carries over to today. And they say it's 10 grand now, but it's not. It's actually, there's 3 grand, 5 grand thresholds also. And I say this all the time. I'm like, go try to take out $5,000 from your bank. And dude's like, oh, I take it out, no problem. But then I got 50 customers that are like, yeah, I went to the bank last week and I was just curious. So I'm like, hey, can I get 3 grand? They're like, yeah, it's going to take 72 hours to get it. We don't have it. You got to fill out this paperwork. What do you want it for? And it's this whole fucking.
The reality of what most people don't understand is that is a secondary effect of the war on drugs.
Yep.
That's all it is. Secondary effect of war on drugs. They don't want you to be able to take out cash because you can make cash purchases at high volume in the drug world.
Or other things you want to buy that you just don't want tracked.
I mean, again, I think it's your money.
And nowadays,
if you want it nickels, pennies, dimes, whatever, the bank should have to give it to you.
And nowadays, you go to Walmart, right? You don't want to track ammunition, right? Still fucking tracked. Facial recognition everywhere you fucking go.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're not living off the grid.
Correct.
Like you're not. I mean, I'm sure there's some Amish people living off the grid, but the reality is, if you're using any of the systems that are in place,
I bet
you're trackable.
I'll bet you have something in your house. It wouldn't surprise me to find out it's even in your phone. That your phone logs things that you come in contact with that have RFID tags in it.
It does.
I'll bet the feds could just pull your shit up and be like, I'll bet manufacturer of firearms has RFID tags that you're not even aware of in it, or ammunition, or whatever, you know.
Well, they wanted to put taggants. They wanted to put taggants and information or taggants inside ammunition when Clinton was president, but the problem is it didn't work. It was the same thing when Clinton was president. They wanted to put a unique stamping on firing pins. So
micro stamping.
yeah, micro stamping, so that when your casings were left at a crime scene, they could trace it to the gun. Blah 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 blah. The problem is, again, firing pin removable. So a criminal is not going to be out there doing it. So it'd be relatively a big expense for little return. And outside of that, again, though, you're being tracked. Now, the question really is that information, does that information gleam anything, right? Because the tracking, a lot of the tracking is very specific. The reason why you're being completely tracked is not because the government, because remember, the government is always lazy and always 10 years behind everybody else. You're being tracked not because the government wants to know what you're doing. You're being tracked because Google wants to know what you're buying and how they can fucking feed you commercials, and they can use propaganda to get you to keep buying. That's why you're being tracked. Now, what happens in that scenario is Google becomes really good. Google and everybody else becomes really good at tracking your habits. Well, your habits tell a lot about what kind of person you are. So naturally, eventually, somebody in the government's going to be like, you know, it'd be really cool if we knew everything that everything everybody was doing. And so they build big ass fucking data storage farms in Utah and shit, and the NSA is collecting all that information.
That's what all the water right stuff's about.
Not because, again, here's the issue. Not because like the not because they're actively looking for certain things. The reality is it's more of a collection of data, so that when Bill does something bad, they can now look at Bill's history and figure out all Bill's connections, it just makes it easier for them to do a case against him. So
I say that all the time.
that's what it is.
If you're not a criminal, it's only a matter of time, because as soon as they want you for something, they then assign a team of analysts that look at your entire history, your digital footprint.
Well, think about what Trump just did. Think about what Trump just said. Again, the law's there, so the law's there, right? He used a 200-year-old law to get rid of people that we needed to get rid of, okay? Think about how many laws are on the books,
right,
that we currently don't enforce. Like, the reality is sodomy laws are, almost in every state in the United States. We don't enforce that, but you think about it, they could really, all that stuff, and that's the problem with collecting information on people. It could be used against them. And it's also the problem with the left, because the left wants retroactive punishment. So meaning, if you said something derogatory about fucking gays in the 80s, they want their pound of flesh now, even though it's irrelevant.
Did you see he said that they're removing all, so they're going to remove all transgender from the military?
Yeah.
Some judge just tried to block that. Did you see that?
Won't be able to, because they're not. The issue is they're non-deployable.
What do you think about him nulling gay marriage?
Oh, he's not going to do that.
He said he was going to do it.
No, he didn't. He never said that.
No, I'm pretty sure.
No.
I'm pretty sure he did say that.
Trump never said that. Trump is for gay marriage.
I think I saw him. You're absolutely right.
Trump is
because
for
he
gay
has
marriage.
a bunch of gay people on his cabinet.
Yeah, Trump is for gay marriage. He's not going to.
Okay, I don't know where I got that from.
Some
bullshit.
Some bullshit. Yeah, Trump is for gay marriage. He's not. Again, the reality is what the left is saying versus what Trump's actually doing is completely 180. Like he's taken no rights away. He's done. It's funny. I keep seeing these on my feed. I keep seeing these. This woman comes on and she's like, Jesus Christ, there he goes again. You're not going to believe this. I've actually now, because Trump is president, I have to go down to the DMV and get a driver's license in order to drive a car. There he goes, taking my rights away again, and it just keeps going on and on, shit like that. Yeah, just satire. It's funny.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up.
All right, wrapping.
We just
paper out. Tape.
We just filmed the video for the fanny pack winner giveaway.
It was explosive.
It was very explosive. We put some business cards on top of tannerite in a bin. They detonated that, and then 3 ladies ran up, 60 seconds, grabbed as many cards as they could, and whoever had the most cards won, and we gave her extra $100. We gave them each $50 for participating. And we'll do that drawing sometime today. We'll do that live, so you guys will see the winners on that. And then we're doing a March giveaway. At the end of March, we'll do a drawing similar. And the prize winner gets a full rifleman's kit. Grand prize winner gets to pick the color, and then we'll have 3 runner-up for that also. This is the kit. We're going to do a video that you'll see probably this evening also. By the time this comes out, you will have already seen this. You'll see a description. Jeff will wear this, and we'll point it out and talk about it.
I'm not wearing this one. It smells.
Smells?
No.
So, all right, we're going to go and do Patreon Q&A. If you're not a member over there, join Patreon. We do a question and answer video every week. You guys ask the questions, and we build that video around your questions. See you guys next week, and that's it.
From the bottom,